All right, we are here with Theodore. He is doing the Fantasy Module Parser. I'm founder Leroon, and I'm going to give this over to Teddy. Take it away, bud.
All right, so not everyone knows who Mask is. Back years ago, this gentleman actually created a great program for DMs, module creators called Engineer Suite. An amazing program the guy made. It helps you add NPCs, spells, tables, etc. into Fantasy Grounds so that you can use them. We all know if you create modules in Fantasy Grounds, it can be very, very time consuming, especially NPCs, because there's so much information to type in there. Mask gave up the project February 2020 because of real life, and he asked if anyone was willing to take it over. I gladly did not want to see the project die. I took it over. He was using a programming language called AutoHotkey. It works, but definitely can't handle everything. I decided we're going to rewrite the program in C#, which has been a great thing. And with that, we have started out small. It's me and another guy writing all the code. We have started out small, and we are at the point of the NPC Creator being ready for everybody. And I am now going to show you what the NPC Creator actually is. If you look over here on the left side, you'll see add backgrounds, classes, all the different options that will eventually be available. But right now, we have just adding NPCs. When you first open up your application, Fantasy Module Parser, you will always want to click on Options, Manage Your Project, because if you don't have a project set up, it will not work properly. This is number one. So we will start off with test. We'll just make it real easy. I'm not going to go and make it some fancy old information. If you want to add a picture for the library that is going to be in Fantasy Module or in Fantasy Grounds, you just double click in here and it will bring up or show you. When you do a double click, it brings up, hey, find your picture. And the one thing I have found is it can be a PNG or a JPEG file, completely fine. Now, module path here is where do you want to save the folder and module? Most people would actually pick their Fantasy Grounds folder and ignore the name. This is my wife's laptop, so you'll see that it's exactly that. And Fantasy Grounds, and then they'll go to modules. Now, one thing that I will mention is it is going to save a folder with the definition XML and the database XML. The only reason we do that is so there's some of us like myself that we love to edit the XML after it's created. That folder allows you to edit the XML. So with that being said, you can do it that way, but Fantasy Grounds itself will read a folder before it reads the .module file. With all this information populated, at this point, the parser information is not needed because we aren't using any of that. Eventually, we may make it where you have to select each option to have it included into the module, but right now, that is not required. We save and close, and where do you want the project module? In other words, your .mod file. That is where, oh wait, no. Project module, sorry, I got that wrong. Project module would be your .fmp file, which is specific just to Fantasy Module Parser. For that, I will just put it into my documents and hit OK. Now we are completely ready. Immediately you see down here FG category. That is going to be the main category of whatever you created your module name. Now, we see NPC information, your basics, all your information. You can add it all in here. One great thing that we did that apparently Mask never did get fully working is a dice roller. So you want your monster to have a hit point of so many dice, typical, 1d6 plus 1 hit points. You either double click in here into the hit points box, or you click dice roller. It brings up a little dice average and roller. So let's take example. We want a monster to be 2d10 with a +5 for its bonus. Now, average would be what you would generally see in any Wizard of the Coast module. It automatically parses out 16 hit points on a 2d10 +5. Or if you wanted to have the maximum number of hit points, or a random number of hit points, we click it multiple times, you see that number change. We'll leave it at average for now. We close. It's automatically there. Now you got your NPC name. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. They're very self-explanatory. As you fill in your ability scores, the modifier will change. So it has a 17 strength, a 12 dexterity. We're going to make it a horrible monster. It only has 8 constitution. And it's smart. We'll go, it's 25 intelligence, 18, and then a basic 10. So as you see, as I entered every single one of those fields, the modifier did change to the required number. And saving throws. This little checkbox here is generally not going to be checked, but once in a while, you may see a stat block that says strength +0. If you have this checked, that 0 will show up in the saving throws. Otherwise, it will just not show up at all. Challenge rating, we all get what that is. All of these are pretty self-explanatory. And then NPC token, you will want to use a PNG file for your NPC token. And that is literally what is going to show up in that little area up on the right-hand corner of your NPC file in Fantasy Grounds program. Once again, it is a double click to find it. Okay, somebody has their mic on. Yep, thank you for muting. And then we go in here, we have your resistances. Originally, we had 6 options down here. We just today pushed up a new update that brings it down to 4 because what we realized, we're going to have to change that. That box is a little small. Is that if bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing are selected, and it is resistant to anything, it is automatically going to be on the right side of resistances and immunities. Condition immunity, we've got our basic conditions, and then who knows, you may have a special one that you want to include that would be in your other. All of your skills, which are great. They're self-explanatory. If it's a 0, it won't show up. If you put it in here, then it will show up. You got all your languages. I think we have included most of them. If you got a special language, there is user languages, which right here under options, manage your languages. Oh yeah, and here you also add your new categories and a new language like good lord, let's just say English. We'll just add basic English. Add, close, and apparently at this point, let's go with a new NPC. Yeah. All right. So if you add a user language, you have to create a new NPC by clicking File, New NPC. Very easy. So if you have new languages that are your own to create, get that done before you start making all your NPCs, because suddenly everything is gone. And now we go back over to traits. We all remember, if you used Engineer Suite, the way the traits were done. We changed up that feature where it is fully editable here. We don't yet have it where you can do the drop down. I'm hoping we can get that done in the near future, where you, in Engineer Suite, you had the drop down that you could select pre-made traits and so on. So we'll just put in here amphibious. And then this creature can breathe underwater. And can sort it, add more, plain, no. Random trait. Random description. Now we want to move this one above. As you see, it works quite well. We move on. You can add as many as you want, and we got a scroll bar here that'll allow you to organize them as you want. Innate spellcasting. Periodically, we get our lovely spellcasters. If you want this section to be included, make sure you click that box. It'll pre-populate requiring no material components. We know some would be requires no verbal components, no somatic components. It can be anything depending on the monster. Now, you must select a spellcasting ability, and with innate spellcasting, it usually has one or the other for spell save DC and spell hit bonus. I think we fixed this to where it will not accept negative numbers. Let's just check. Yeah, it will not accept a negative number. So it has a spell DC of 14. And then you put all of your spells in here, just like in Engineer Suite. Light, Cure Wounds. It is all lowercase with a space or with a comma in between. And it will parse that out for when you open it up in Fantasy Grounds. And as long as you have the required modules or the required libraries open, modules open, whatever, it will automatically add those monsters into, or the spells into your monster. Now, we are starting to see psionic monsters, so we actually do have that option too, where if it is psionic, it will do the same thing. And basically what that does with the psionics, it'll say innate spellcasting, parentheses, psionics. Now, regular spellcasting. We had fun working with this one. Believe me, that was great because we found, oh, this bug, that bug. You name a bug, we probably found it. And we believe we have fixed caster level. It's a 9th level caster. Is based on wisdom with a DC of, let's go 14, which seems to be average, and then a hit bonus of 2. And by the way, with this one, you can have a -2, which, God forbid your hit bonus be negative. Oof. Let's go back to just a 2, and you must Actually, spellcasting, I don't remember if it requires a class, but I would definitely fill in the class if nothing else. It is a cleric, so you got cantrips at will, light, cure wounds, and even your first level. I don't believe this is a cleric spell, but hey, we'll just put it in there. Magic missile. You continue on. This is where it got really interesting. Actions, reactions, legendary actions, lair action. Add, edit, action. We created a neat way to add all your actions. Previously, it was very blocky in wind forms and so on. If it has multi-attack, you check the box. This creature can make 2 attacks. You click add. Move over to your weapon attack. And it has club. It is not magic or any of these. And it's just a melee weapon attack. You see we have included melee range, the versatile, even your spell attacks. To hit, +2, reach 5. Being its melee, none of this information will be included. 1 target or 1 creature. And it does 1d6 +2 bludgeoning damage. If it was a special club that had some additional damage, be it fire, cold, etc., you just click add bonus damage and you set up its parameters. Preview here. You can see what it's going to look like. You will notice that the weapon name is not included down here because that is going to automatically be parsed into this section. Add update. You see club, melee weapon attack, and the same information you got over here is right here. The other great thing, let's just add a, let's go with a piercing one, spear, which we know does both short range and can be thrown. It does melee and range. These are very special in themselves, where we have we'll keep it as a +2 hit. The one thing you got to make sure is you get the weapon range set. I believe spear is 30, 120. We'll just leave it at 120. And 1 target does 1d6 +2 piercing and does not do any additional damage. And if it does, I believe plus is what we want. 2d6. 2d6 damage, piercing damage. Damage if used with 2 hands. We know that's way out of its league, but we're just having fun here. We preview. You see it sets up. Oh, okay. Found a bug. Yay! I'll fix that later. +12 piercing damage if used with 2 hands. I don't know why that bug shows up, but hey, I will look into that later. We do see it here. So preview is a great way to work with it. Add update. It shows there. And unfortunately, you cannot edit it here. But I believe, yes. Once it's added over here, we can remove the minor bug that we found. Thankfully, it's very minor. If Darkpool is watching, maybe he can work on that real quick. And with that, we hit close. It automatically brings it all over here. Reactions. This is a work in progress. We'll have the template. A reaction. Parry. Ow. This monster can take a dodge action. Update. As you see, it moves it right on over here, and it puts it right down here. Same thing with legendary actions. This monster has 3 options. Update. Option 1. Description. Update, etc. I'm not going to go through everything. This is just showing you all. Oh, apparently accept and close does not work. So we'll check into that too. Layer actions, options. There is 4 options. I don't remember layer actions. I haven't used layer actions in forever. And then you click over to your layer actions where you can add option 1, description, and close. Now you see beautifully put. If you have to edit any of the reactions, legendary actions, layer actions, you just click right back in and you can see them there. It's beautiful. The X works. You can also use the escape button for those that are good at using the that don't like to use their mouse a lot. Now, one thing we've finally added in the last couple weeks was the description tab working. In this, it is using Markdown. I created a beautiful little help menu for you. So having that off to the side, we'll pull this over so we can see. Come on, cooperate with me, thank you. Monster name. Okay, apparently header is way huge. Let's see, yeah, I think it accepts that one. So ignore the way it looks. It's going to look horrible, but when you actually bring it into your fantasy grounds, it should look better. Italicize text. As you see, italics. Bold. Oh, got to figure out how to get it to go between lines. So that's something else we need to look at. Creating paragraphs. Let's see, does that do it? Yep, okay, so it's, well, found something new. And so 3 dots is a straight, or 3 asterisks is a line. Interesting. All right, but unfortunately, I don't think Fantasy Grounds actually uses that. So bold and italicize. There you go. But you see, you get the basic gist of it. We all have that chat. Well, some modules will have chat boxes. Simple tick, back tick, chat box, and it highlights it like that, which will then turn into a chat box in Fantasy Grounds. Let's close all these windows out and clear text. It goes away. Image, very self-explanatory. Find an image, and it will. Let's go into visitors. Can somebody please mute unless? Yeah, thank you. All right, so good lord, I'm trying to remember where I saved everything. Oh yeah, app data. Home. All right, Fantasy Grounds module. I'm just gonna bring a picture in Alright, as you see, the moment it loaded, there's your picture, clear image works. None of this area down here, artist name, artist link works. That seems to be it for a basic setup. And then when you're done, save NPC. With a big difference between Fantasy Module Parser versus Engineer Suite. All of our information is saved as JSON files instead of his specialized .npc file, and so on. Once you have saved your NPC, it will be saved to the NPC folder, I believe. Yeah, it automatically saves over to the NPC folder that can be found in your roaming area. Then you will want to add this NPC to a parsing project. Since we have no NPCs right now, we'll go ahead and show another great feature. I have been asked so many times, is Fantasy Module Parser going to support the Engineer Suite NPCs? The answer is yes. I have already brought one up, which is a Bone Devil. You can find it in the SRD, and I will just copy. Literally, you open your .npc file into a text editor. Everything. Do not change it at all. Otherwise, you will break. Just a big heads up. Then all you do is click import and return. We don't have that preview window anymore because we don't really need it, because if you do it correctly, it will parse correctly. Bone Devil, you see all these fields just populated. Condition immunity has none. As you see right here, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, cold, and is resistant to weapons that are not silvered. Let's make sure. Yep, there we go. As you see, literally right there. And it has fire resistance, etc. Moving on down, telepathy. Oh, language options. These are some special language options that are available if needed. I'm not really going to go through them. Don't really have a whole lot. There you go, all your traits pre-filled in. Has no innate spellcasting, no regular spellcasting. All the actions just thrown right in. And description has none, no image. You can add those. Then we click Save NPC. That will literally add it over. Let me go see if I can find it. To right here. Darn phone. Go to, oops, app data, FMP. Now in NPCs, you have my blank one because I delete, get rid of that. There's Bone Devil. As you see, now we click add to project. It'll give you a little note that, hey, it's been added. Now, the other thing I wanted to do is show you one neat little feature we have added. Is a D&D Beyond importer. Some people have the ability to use D&D Beyond. Others don't. We will be adding more importers as we get them created. Because I know that the one thing in between monsters that you are creating, you will definitely want to make sure. You will want to make sure that you are clicking new NPC every time. Otherwise, it can overwrite your current monsters. And we don't want to see that happening. Guardian, not Control C. Come over here, import. Now, one thing to remember, if you leave it here set on Engineer Suite, it is not going to work. Change it over to D&D Beyond NPC and just do a copy paste there. Uh-oh. Well, we found, spellcasting. Go figure. Oh, okay. Right here. I don't know what actually broke that. Very interesting. Oh, must be this special area right here. So I will have to look into that. So cancel this one. I will go find a different one. We'll just go with basic skeleton. So I will just of things. Here, I'm live on stream and I break stuff. Sure. What the heck? Okay, bring this back down. I don't need this in here. The Beyond. Import and return. There we go. As you see, very easy. Brings it on in. Has vulnerability to bludgeoning. And understand, yes. Also, the other thing is if it has a language condition that is in the D&D Beyond, it won't select it here. It'll actually add it as a user language. Has no traits, no casting. There is its weaponry, no description. We save, add to project. Then we have previous and next NPC. Do that right here. You got skeleton, bone devil. NPC token, it'll blink red. It does not have to be filled in. And also selected NPC, you will get a list of what NPCs are in the category. So if you have multiple categories, you'll have to switch between your category to see which. At this point, we are able to create a module. So to create modules, you can, I think I removed it from here. Yes, I did. You just come up here, click create module. It'll look like nothing has happened. To verify, all we do is I will go to documents, test 1 FMP. That is the Fantasy Module Parser module file. Let's go check in users, app data, grounds. It looks like it did not create it. Well, so much for testing. I will hopefully get that fixed real quickly and a working version uploaded. It should have shown you the .mod file and the folder in that section. So that is a basic run through of what Fantasy Module Parser does. At this point, our next release is for our patrons and will be the spell section. We will have it where you can add spells. We are actually the special notice for you guys, special treat for you guys is Fantasy Module Parser is now actually open for public download, but as we all see, it has a few bugs that it isn't going to work 100% yet. The other thing I will show you, we will go and show you what that .fmp file is for. Let's exit and bring it back up.